Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you today. And I'd like to start off by disabusing the American public of some myths. A lot has been said about the Keystone Pipeline so far today. But the reality is that the Keystone Pipeline would not be operational until at least next year. So the notion that somehow that's adversely affecting the price of oil and the price of gas at the pump is, to me, to be somewhat mystifying how someone can look at the American people in the eye and make that argument. And what's more, the Keystone XL was essentially a Canadian export pipeline designed to take Canadian oil to foreign markets, and Canadian officials have said just as much. But let me get to another myth that I think is going around the Capitol and perhaps through the American public, and that is this notion that if we declare a federal tax holiday, somehow the American people are going to feel that in their pocketbook. And so I would like to ask each of the major producers here, starting off with Mr. Lawler, if we decide we're going to suspend the federal gas tax, are you prepared to reduce the wholesale price of gasoline by that 18.3 cents, sir?
So I can't commit to that today. Again, it's
Okay,
it's a
I
market.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. How about you, Mr. Rith?
Congressman, the way the market works, we collect that tax on behalf of the government and remit it to the government. So if that tax were suspended, we would no longer collect it, and that would no longer be passed through to the marketplace.
So your wholesale price of gasoline would be reduced by 18.3 cents.
Our wholesale, we add the tax onto our wholesale price of gasoline. If the tax were suspended, we would no longer add that on.
All right, thank you, sir. How about Mr. Woods with Exxon?
Also, the wholesale gasoline market set by supply and demand levels. We don't actually set a price on that. So as Mr. Worth said, depending on how that market translated in the supply demand balance, that would set the price.
So you're saying that the 18.3 cents that we charge for per gallon doesn't affect the price?
Would not be in the price.
That's not my question. If we declare a federal tax holiday, are your prices going to go down by 18.3 cents?
We don't set the price in the commodity wholesale market for gasoline. That's set by supply and demand. We won't collect the tax, but then the market will set the price for the underlying fuel.
All right, I appreciate that. And let's see, Ms. Watkins, how about Shell? What will Shell do if we declare a federal tax holiday of 18.3 cents?
Congressman, we're in this similar situation. We will no longer collect the federal tax. The price of gasoline will be set in the marketplace, and it's based on a supply and demand.
So let me see if I've got this right. And either one of the four that just spoke can correct me, please. What you're saying is that supply and demand is setting the price of wholesale gasoline, which obviously gets translated to retail and ultimately to what my constituents pay for gasoline. So the 18.3 cents that we charge for a federal tax holiday really isn't affecting anything other than, the government's collecting some revenue. It's not affecting supply and demand. It's not affecting the price at the pump. Is that correct?
Congressman, it's added to the price at which the wholesale gasoline is sold on through the value chain. So if it's suspended, that component leaves the equation. The rest of the dynamics remain in the marketplace as they do every day.
So there's no promise then that the price is going to go down by 18.3 cents, correct?
Congressman, it's impossible to predict how commodity markets will behave day to day. So,
all right, I appreciate the candor. What I'm trying to do is disabuse the American public of this myth that if we do something like declare a federal tax holiday, that the price of gasoline will go down. We don't know what's going to happen to it, is what you all are saying, because you're saying that the mysteries of supply and demand and this and that could still have the wholesale price go up or go sideways or go just about in any direction. Madam Chair, I appreciate this opportunity. Let me just say this. I think our solution ultimately ought to be, we just need to give direct payments to the American people while we're in this emergency so they have some extra money to pay for gasoline. That would be my solution. I've said as much on the record. I've said as much to leadership. I look forward to continuing this discussion, and I yield back the balance of my time and appreciate you allowing me to pass on yours.